Alright, now next, continuous monster effects. Continuous is the opposite. As soon as they're summoned, you get the effect. So basically, Jinzo's an older card. It's 6 stars, so you only tribute one monster for it. And it basically says it negates all face-up traps. Continuous monster effects do not start a chain. Do not. Remember that. Do not. So Divine Wrath won't work on them. Pulling the Rug won't work. Doom Caliber Knight or Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. Okay. All right. Quick effects. Are previously known as multi-triggers. It can be activated during either your or your opponent's turn, and it'll say that on the card. And these are the only monster effects that are spell speed 2, so those are faster than these other ones. Okay. It usually says this effect can be activated during either player's turn, or something similar to that. Alright, such as, let's do Light and Darkness Dragon, one of my favorites. Alright, you have Light and Darkness Dragon out, so Lad. You have Lad out. They play Fisher. Now your Lad's effect activates and kills Fisher, okay? Your opponent replies by Book of Moon. Because Lad has a quick trigger effect, rather than a multi-trigger, so you only get one at a time, it can't be used more than once, and therefore cannot negate Book of Moons. So, basically it would put your monster face down, so it resets its attack, and the amount of times it can reuse its effect. But you can't keep multi-triggering it, so you can't, like, negate that monster, and then you can't negate that monster, and then that trap, and then that one. Trigger effects. They activate whenever a certain condition on the field, nature of play or progress of turn. That's going to sound confusing, but I'll get to it. Alright. Again, with the Monarchs, Zaborg is 1. When he is tribute summoned, his effect destroys one monster on the field. Okay? However, there are other ones. There are optional ones. They don't automatically happen. Okay? Cards like Mystic Tomato, Dark Magician of Chaos, things like that. You don't have to activate the effects. They're optional, but I mean, for the most part, you usually want to. There is such a thing, though, and you're going to hear this a lot, especially with more pro players, is missing timing. If 2 optional trigger effects activate, like Mystic Tomatoes, Sangans, they kamikaze, they kill both yours and theirs, both of them get their effects, okay? And they get a chain. So whoever's turn it is, they take priority, because it's their turn, so they take first roll. And they get Chain Link 1, and then the opponent becomes Chain Link 2, and you can start chaining off that. Alright, so again, compulsories are ones that must resolve and are not optional. Trigger effects, for the most part, are optional. There are optional ones, there are non-optional ones. If they're not optional, they're compulsory. If they're optional, then they're optional. Maybe not. Okay, this is going to go a little bit more into the missing the timing thing. With missing the timing, unlike compulsory, which just automatically happens, optional effects do miss timing, and you might want to brush up on these kinds of things. It's basically when the triggering effect that starts it isn't the last one to happen. So if it's like somewhere in the chain, and it's not the last one to start or to end, then it can miss timing. So basically, it can be identified. You can find it when the card says win or you can. Pete in the Dark Clown. Terrible example, but whatever. Alright, let's say they have a Pete in the Dark Clown. They try tributing it because they had it on the field for 1 turn. So they're trying to tribute it for someone's skull. Because you tributed it, you do not get the effects, basically. If it was a Sangan, you would, but because it's a Pete and it has a different type of effect, you don't get it, okay? So you miss the timing on Peten's effect, but you do get someone's skull. Do you get it? Maybe not? Okay, here's another example. They have a Peten. Alright, they have a Peten. I have a Fisher. I activate Fisher. It's my turn. I activate Fisher. They chained a Fisher. They play Regeki Break, which is a normal trap. They target their Peten, because they're still trying to get rid of their Peten to activate its effect. So, Regeki Break activates, or resolves first, so they discard, activate Regeki Break. It kills their Peten, okay? So, the Regeki Break's done. Next would be my Fisher. But because Fissure is next and there's no monster on the field, I missed the timing on that and my card dies. So I basically wasted it, okay? Now the chain is done because their Regeki Break went and then my Fissure went even though it didn't kill anything and their Peten's Effect went. Okay? So hopefully that cleared it up a little bit for y'all. Alright, now you do have lingering effects, and that's basically a card that's effect that resolves after it's gone. Some things like that, there's like Sangan, there's which is banned now. They do have a couple good ones that you do play. Return from a Different Dimension, Power Bond, Hero Graph, Lithograph, Gold Sarcophagus. Crush Card Virus is banned. Alright, lingering other ones are like Scapegoat or token monsters. Alright, or they do have spell monsters and trap monsters. Basically, it's a spell or a trap card you activate and it gives you a token or a monster. Those would be lingering because they stay and they're continuous in the field. Okay. Alright, conditions. Now, when I was saying skill drain earlier, they usually activate that to kill the conditions or effects of monsters, okay? There are effects that cannot be destroyed, cannot be negated, and there are some that are, and I'm going to tell you about them. Alright, ones that cannot be negated. Summoning restrictions, alright? Such as it cannot be special summoned from the graveyard, cannot be normal summoned, cannot be special summoned, things like that, okay? Modifiers, such as anything that says it can change the name of something else, such as like Cyber Harpy, E-Hero Prisma, things like that. Alright, maintenance costs, such as Mirror Wall, you pay 2,000 life points to attack to drop all their face-up monsters attack and defense in half. Things like that. Alright, material limitations, such as Eccentric Boy, Chimera Tech Fortress, Majestic Dragon, Debris Dragon. Basically, it says it will do this. It'll be like a fusion substitute, synchro substitute, something like that. But the monster loses effect. You cannot kill the monster you're trying to sub out for. So you can't kill its effect. So if you use Eccentric Boy and try to use its effect and they use Skill Drain, they cannot do it. Again, if you're concerned about any of this stuff, look it up on Yugioh Wikio. Alright? Effects that play under certain conditions, like Gemini monsters, Morphtronics, or fairies like Master Hyperion, okay? Such as while in this position, while in the graveyard, if you need other cards that work with it, like Master Hyperion, if you control a face-up Sanctuary in the Sky, things like that. Limitation restrictions. Okay, so like Uni monsters or things that stop you from doing other things. Like if you activate this effect, you cannot attack this turn. There are plenty of cards like that. Or if you activate this effect, this monster dies at the end of the turn. Okay? Things like that. Alright, tuner substitutes like Quick Draw Synchron or Venadius of the Nordic Ascendant. Basically monsters that substitute themselves for another tuner. Okay? You cannot negate their effects. Lingering effects, like I just talked about. There's Watt Woodpecker, there's Hardened Armed Dragon, and Torpart. I don't use them, I don't really know about them, but those are continuous. There's trigger-like lingering effects, like Rescue Cat. They have lingering effects, but they do not trigger. Okay. Expiration dates, like Shrink or Gap or Honest, which is basically use the effect, and the effect only lasts till the end of the turn, end of the battle phase, till the damage step, whatever it may be. Limitations, basically, on the card. Alright, those cannot be. Alright, now these are ones that can be, okay? Special summoning conditions. Cyber Dragon, okay? Machina Fortress, Grapha, Dragon Lord of Dark World, Familiar Possessed Awesome, okay? Special conditions like that. Only one on the field constrictions, like there can only be one face up, however many, there can only be like one face up Harpy Lady on the field, something like that. If Skill Drain is negating the effect of a card on the field, you cannot summon another one of its compartments. Basically, with Malefics, it says if Skill Drain is negating the effect of a Malefic card, Because Malefic's card says there can only be one on the field, you cannot pull out another Malefic. So you still have to abide by your own rules while they're draining you. It's a pain, but you know, there's ways around it. Only one per side. Okay, basically, you can only control one of whatever card it is on the field, because that's what it'll say on the card. That's the limitation text. You can only put one of these cards on the field at a time. You can't play another skill drain if there's already one on the field, basically. You wouldn't need one anyways. Alright, material costs, which is basically multiple tributors. Like Kaiser Seahorse or Double Cost Down. Monsters like these, it'll say on it if you're tributing for a water monster, you can, you know, this one monster counts as 2 tributes. Things like that. If you're tributing for a light monster, it counts for 2. If you're going for a dark, it counts for 2. So multiple tributors, okay? Also ritual substitutes. There's a Ritual Raven and Djinn of rituals. Instead of using the ritual monsters you need, it'll substitute that card for it. It may have limitation text, it may not, I don't know. But again, I'm just informing y'all. Alright, fusion substitutes, like Beast King or Mystical Sheep #1. If you don't have the monster for the fusion, these cards will work in place. Multiple card types, Samorg, Bird of Ancestry, or Light and Darkness Dragon. Basically, it'll say this card, while face up, is a normal monster / tuner, or like Gemini monsters. You can normal summon them, and they're normal monsters. On your next turn, you can re-normal summon them, which is you just take it back and normal summon it again, but you tell them you're Gemini summoning, and you get the effect, and then it becomes a Gemini monster. Okay. So it's a little tricky, but I mean there are cards like that. There are cards that are say they're light and dark for attributes, or you know, they're something or other. They're beast and tuner. So, all right, match winners. Match winners are illegal. Illegal. Okay, so you can't play them. You can play them with your friends, but you can't play them in a tournament. Victory Dragon, things like that. Or if you use this card to drop their life points to 0, you win the duel. They're illegal in tournaments, but they're fun with your friends. Victory conditions. Exodia or Venomi Naga. Exodia basically is if you have all 5 pieces in your hand, you win. That's your victory condition. You must have all 5 pieces. Venomi Naga, I believe, is when it's pulled out the right way, you have to kill, I think, 3 monsters with it. You get 3 counters on it, and as soon as you get those 3 counters are your win condition. You must have 3 to win that duel. So, yeah. Graveyard conditions. Phantom Beast, Crosswing, Harpy Queen, Elemental Hero, Necroshade. Basically, I don't know any of those 3 cards. Graveyard conditions would be like anything that activates in the graveyard, anything that needs requirements in the graveyard, things like that. Level treat effects, Tuning Word, Road Synchron. Anything that changes the level on other monsters. There's a bunch of cards for that, okay? Okay guys, hang in with me because we're almost done. Alright, basically we're going to go through the different types of special kinds of monsters. And then for spell speeds, actually I'm going to refer you back to, I think it was the last video. Because that one showed you the spell speeds and things like that. If not the first video. But I will put a link like here-ish, somewhere around here, to show y'all where it is. Alright, so Toon Monsters. Toon Monsters are basically, they can attack directly. I don't think they can attack the first turn they're summoned though. And there's 3 different kinds. The only thing about them is you have to have Toon World out. So you pay 1,000 life points, summon Toon World, and then you can from there start going through your Toon Monsters. Okay? Let's read Toon Dark Magician real quick. No normal summoner set, can only special summon with Toon World. Tribute to required. Okay, so you still have to tribute for level 5 or more. You have to have Toon World out if it's destroyed, so is the monster. You have to attack their tunes if they have tunes. If they don't, you can attack directly. Spirit monsters, they're older. They're from like Legacy of Darkness set. Basically, they have really good effects, but they only stay on the field for 1 turn, if that. You summon them, and it says right on their cards that they cannot stay on as soon as the turn they're summoned. They have to go back to the hand. There are cards around that, but still, for the most part, there are really good spirit monsters out there. Sorry, they cannot be special summons, so you can't pull out like 5 spirit monsters for nothing. So, sorry. Alright, Union monsters. They came out, I think, in Magician's Force when they first came out, but they're actually getting better. For the most part, they are kind of like the way the Xyz work. They're Union monsters turn into equipped spells. They work like Dragunities. You put one onto another card, and it usually boosts attack, or instead of that main monster being destroyed, that one would discard itself and, die. However, because they're an equipped spell, they are vulnerable to MSTs and things like that, so that's a Union monster. Tuner monster, again, one of the basics of synchro summoning. Tuner monster is the monster you tune with another monster, and then you add up those star levels, and if they're the appropriate monsters and types and attributes, you can pull out the monster you're needing. If they don't match up, it's not going to work. You need the exact star level. Alright, Dark Tuners. Dark Tuners are newer. They're for the Dark Tuner monsters, Dark Tuner Synchros. Basically, a Dark Tuner, I explained it, I think, in video 2. Basically, it's like a level 3 Dark Tuner and a level 9 regular monster. You will take the 3 stars from the Dark Tuner and subtract them from the 9 to get a level 6 Dark Tuner Synchro monster. So it works kind of like reverse for Synchros. But that'll do it for this video. I know this one was really long, but a lot had to be said, and that should do it. So that's going to be part 3. If y'all need any help with anything, feel free to look up Yugioh, wikia.com, things like that, or message me if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, any concerns. Hopefully I'll do expert. I really want to try and make these videos short, but they kind of keep coming along. But for now, that'll be it. So King of Two Liners.